just, to uphold the rule of law, and to never break my oath to you. Amen.
Judge and I will take a few questions if any of you guys have any questions. Yeah, look, the way that works on the Supreme Court is you have to have one justice from every circuit or district court of appeals. So fourth, first, and so you needed to have one from the third, which is Miami and Fort Lauderdale. And sometimes that could be a problem because, like, you may have better candidates who just aren't in that circuit. Well, in this case, I mean, these were great candidates. I mean, I think that you probably couldn't have had, I think there were 3 Miami candidates. They were all stellar. Obviously, I've selected 2 of them already. And I think it just speaks well for this community. And, to be last week at the Freedom Tower with Justice Lagoa, whose parents fled communism for freedom, and then to see her dedicate herself to the rule of law because they know very much what it means to not have law. And then to be here at a Jewish day school where, I spent time in the campaign coming to these places because it was important to me. And we will have some news about Florida and Israel very soon. So I will return to South Florida soon, and we'll do that. It was really special. But, Bob Luck is just somebody who, I mean, he writes so well. He was born to be a judge. I mean, there's just no doubt about it. And so I think that this community here in North Miami Beach should be very, very proud that they now have a favorite son who's sitting on the highest court in the land. Now, I will say, though, he can keep his chambers here still and commute to Tallahassee, so we don't want to steal him from you guys. So if he decides to do that, he can. It's up to him. I'll do that, but does anyone have a question for the judge?
Mr. Justice, if you could just talk for a minute about, you were here before Evan Scher was here, and can you talk for a minute about, this has come full circle for you. Can you elaborate for us on what that means to you?
I believe I was there the first week the mall was open. That's how far I go back. My parents moved to Highland Lakes, then unincorporated Miami-Dade County, in 1975. And I've spent 35 of my 39 years about 5 blocks from that very house that I was born in. When we moved back down here after law school and after my clerkship, we bought a house about 5 blocks away from my old one. So this is very much my neighborhood. It's overwhelming. It's overwhelming to stand in the spot and be in the place where your friends are. I look out and I have so many friends that I've known since before I was preschool, when I was in preschool, and to be here because of their help, because of their guidance, because of the great community that I grew up in, is really an overwhelming experience. I don't know that it guides my judicial wisdom. That, as I said, comes from the Constitution of the state of Florida and the United States. But what it does is it guides me as a person, and as a man, and as a father, and as a husband. And I think my faith, like the governor and his faith, and like many that are here in this room, take their faith and use it as a way to guide their moral principles, their ethical decision-making. But I think it's very different from my job as a judge, from myself as a Jew.
Mark? We will have an announcement on that, not only with respect to the litigation, but to respect to legislation that I think is needed to implement the people's will. I mean, that's what I want to do on that amendment. I think a lot of Floridians have been frustrated that it really hasn't been implemented in the way that they had hoped, and so we're going to have an announcement very soon. So we'll be sure to invite you to that. I think a lot of voters were frustrated that they don't think that it has been. They think there's been a lot of foot dragging, and so my job is to, when the people speak, you have to listen. And this was not an amendment that was really that close. I mean, it was like 72%. And so I think my announcement, which will be very soon, I think will be reflected, will reflect that we want to make sure that this is implemented in a way for the folks who voted for it, that they can feel that that's what they voted for. And I think a lot of them don't feel that way right now. So we'll see some changes. Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. One more. Well, I'm somebody who has always supported border security. I do think the wall will help us with drugs. I don't think that you should rob Peter to pay Paul on that with disaster funds. I mean, I was in Mexico Beach last week. I'm going to be back on Wednesday into the Panhandle. That money is very time sensitive. I mean, they need it now, and we need to get moving on this. There's some of the other things in the federal budget may not necessarily need to be spent right now. So to me, the disaster, that's not where you would want to go to be able to get it. So I'm having Brock Long. I think Brock Long's going to be in Florida with me, the FEMA director, on Wednesday. So we'll be touring, and hopefully we'll be able to announce some measures to be able to help those folks. It's particularly in a state as big as ours, it's always easy to forget these things. And I just made a point since being governor, we're not going to forget them in the Panhandle. It's going to require a lot of work and a lot of attention, but we're going to do that. And obviously, we want FEMA funding to be a part of that. So thanks, guys.
We're going to look, definitely, oh my goodness.
That'd be great.
That would be the most amazing thing ever.
Maybe the new judges.
I would love that. All right, and I'll see you at the
It's such a great story. Oh yeah, I hope you guys know. We're Tallahassee. As of 5 days ago. Still learning.